Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, herniated disc diagnosis, 5 must-dos for optimal recovery. Now, first time here, my name's Colin. I make a lot of great content for folks that they're suffering with low back pain problems, such as sciatica nerve pain, herniated discs, bulging discs, lumbar stenosis, lumbar arthritis. If that is you, then hit that subscribe button. You're going to get notified when I upload some great content to get you back on the road to optimal recovery. So, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So folks, in today's video, I'm going to go over 5 top things you need to do now if you've just been diagnosed with a lumbar herniated disc. Now, who are you talking to or who are you listening to? Okay, my name's Colin. I myself have brought myself back twice from L5-S1 disc herniations. I help clients all over the world get over their own back pain problems, herniated discs, stenosis, sciatica nerve pain, these types of things. And I've been doing this now for more than 20 years, okay? And I just recently brought myself back from my second herniation. It took about 2 years to get back to being fully pain-free, fully healthy again. But here I am making a lot of great content, folks, out there in the world. You can watch it on YouTube, getting you back to pain-free recovery. So, just been diagnosed, what are you gonna do, okay? This may seem obvious, but you need to start a rehab program as soon as possible. Generally, you want to be working on your lumbosacral stability, that's your lower back and the sacrum region, okay, around about the lumbar region. That brings the most benefit, along with a general kind of body strengthening workout routine as well. Now, that might seem obvious to start a rehab program, but however, sadly, in most of today's societies, be you on socialized medicine, be you in insured medicine, it can take a long time for rehabilitation to actually start, okay? So, you want to be starting with most likely 5, 6, 7 exercises. Now I've got a couple of videos, which I'll link to one at the very end. Okay, it's a nice, easy, simple beginner rehab program that you can start today if you've just been diagnosed, because the research does show in the literature that the longer you leave to start your program, especially if it's over a month before you start, and I know that some insurance companies can take 2 or 3 months before they'll actually, allow the physiotherapy to go ahead. If it's socialized medicine, perhaps UK, Canada, France, perhaps you might be waiting 2 or 3 months as well before rehab actually starts. If you wait longer than a month, 30 days to start the rehab program, then your recovery is exponentially much, much longer, okay? So start today, something, right? Start moving, okay? Watch the video that comes up at the end of this one, right? That'll link you to a simple, easy, anyone can do it, beginner program. I've got loads of different programs out there, different levels of where you are in the rehab journey. So definitely check it out, okay? That's number 1. Now, this may seem unusual, okay, but I do like to cover the kind of whole aspect of recovery, as I want you to start journaling, all right? Your sleep, your stress level, okay? Were you at work? What were you doing at work? Okay, was an extra stressful day? Were you traveling more? Okay, because what we're doing here, you're laying the groundwork to see and look for pain triggers, right? So you may have done something the day before or the day before that, and then on that particular next day or now day, you've got an uptick in pain. What was it? Did you take out the garbage the day before? Were you playing with the kids the day before? Did you have a long drive or a long flight 2 days before? Okay, you need to start marking these things down, because it will help you work around them, okay, and plan your days and weeks ahead based on what you know will be a pain trigger. If you don't record, okay, your day, and this includes your workouts and your repetitions, right, you won't be able to find pain triggers, and you won't be able to basically track your progress. And coming on to the next point, okay, you need to be able to track progress, because this is a long journey, right? And I'm going to bring you on to number 3 now, which is your mindset, okay? You have to reset your mind. A lot of people ask me questions saying, Colin, how long is this going to be? When can I lift again? When can I go back to playing tennis or golf, whatever it could be, right? You need to stop and take a step back, okay? Because this problem, herniated disc, is a severe problem. Severe in that it takes a long time for it to heal, okay? Discs are very physiologically different than muscles, tendons. Like you pull a muscle, okay, you tear a ligament, you tear a tendon, whatever, okay? Yes, they take time as well, but disc healing, because there's no blood flow, right, takes a lot longer to recover from. And of course, being the lower back, it's always under stress. Sitting, standing, moving, etc. Right? You have a broken arm, it's in a cast, 6 to 8 weeks, cast off, okay, bit of rehab, and you're back to normal, okay? So your mindset, you've got to understand this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Okay, you're gonna have to change workout routines. You're gonna have to change potentially, how you're working at work. You may have to get a standing desk. Okay, there's a lot of things come into the healing process, and optimizing your spinal hygiene. Okay, like how you move and stuff at work, but your mindset has to change. Because what you don't want to get into is what's called catastrophizing. There's a picture that's going to flash up on the screen there. And this has been well known for many decades. It's in the sport literature, the exercise rehabilitation literature. And basically it's where people become fearful of doing exercises because something potentially hurt them, and then they start doing less and less and less and less and less. Muscles atrophy, they get smaller, they get weaker, and it's a big downward spiral. Okay, so you have to have the right mindset. You have to say to yourself, look, I can't play tennis right now, I can't run right now, okay, but I can walk, okay, which is a stepping stone towards where you ultimately want to be, right? It might take you 10, 12, 14, 18 months to get there, okay, but that is your ultimate goal. So don't be saying, oh, I'll never play tennis again, I'll never mountain bike again, I'll never, whatever again, okay, because more than 90% of people, 85, 90%, depends on which papers you read, journal papers, do recover from this injury without the need for surgery, with conservative treatment, and they return to their activities again. I did first time around. Okay, I was back to deadlifting, squatting, etc. Okay, there's a video's going to flash up there of me deadlifting there. Recently, I've been training legs again. There's a couple of videos that are going to flash up in just a second of me training legs, and that's the second time around. Okay, that I've had this injury. So yes, for most people, you will come back. Okay, majority of people will come back to being healthy, but you got to have the right mindset going into this injury. All right. Now, another one which not a lot of people talk about, I do. Typically, herniated disc, most common herniation is posterior. It pushes backwards, okay? Which means that when you flex forward, okay, you will have pain across the lower back, or you may have pain through the leg in the sciatica nerve, all right? Either left or right, or even both. It's just because when you bend the spine forward, the disc material gets pushed back, and if some of that's been pushed out herniated, it touches into that nerve region, okay, which puts pressure on the nerve. So, simple thing that you can do will cost you nothing, and I do encourage this for the first anywhere from 2, 4, 6 weeks, depending on what stage of the injury the person is at, is to avoid flexion before noon. Now, I've got a separate video on that, but just briefly, what it means is that you're trying to avoid flexing forward, so like bending your spine forward, rounding your spine forward for the first 4 hours of the day, because you're trying to remove that stress of that material getting pushed right back into that nerve and irritating that sciatica nerve even more, okay? Now, that might seem not doable, okay? But you have to try, okay? You may have to support yourself, brushing your teeth so you don't bend forward there. I know you may have to sit on the toilet, but you want to sit there as upright as possible, okay? We're trying not to sit down. We're trying to be obviously standing as much as we can, okay? Yes, you may have to drive, okay? You can put towels and stuff, behind the lower back region or something rolled up there to keep your spine in a bit of extension whilst you're driving to work, okay? But it doesn't cost you anything, but it's just generally a spinal hygiene, spinal awareness move. But if you keep bending, especially in that first 4 hours of the day, because that's when the disc is at its largest, most full of water, there is more pressure going to be pushed on that already irritated nerve, which will just keep, the sensitive nerve much more responsive to that pain response, and it'll just keep upticking your pain, okay? So simple one, avoid flexion before noon or first 4 hours of the day. Now, last one, number 5. This is huge as well, and I do talk about it, and people say, yeah, Colin, you're absolutely right, right? Avoid going on the internet, especially Reddit, okay, to try to find, solutions or fellow sufferers, because unfortunately, it's not to take away from any people on there, but what you will find is people just complaining, right? And what you have found is a group of people who are obviously not doing well, right? But it's concentrated in that little group there. So you see it and you think, oh my God, everyone, is suffering, is taking, months and years to get back, okay? You don't know these people from Adam, all right? And there's not a group of people who have had success, because generally when you have a good meal, or you're at a restaurant, you have something, you have a good response, you don't write about it, right? But when you're angry, you're peed off, you've got something, you're upset about something, you want to share, you want to sort of, you want to wallow in other people's the same kind of situation as you, right? So people go on there and they vent, okay? So if you go there looking for support, you're not. You're going to find the exact opposite of that, and it's people going to be upset, complaining. Now, we don't know, have they done rehab 3 or 4 times a week for the last 3 months? Have they been practicing good spine hygiene? Have they been doing compression? Have they had any PRP or corticosteroid injections? Have they been trying to lose weight if they're overweight? Because all these things will affect the recovery of the disc. It is just their opinion or how they're feeling, and they could be lying. You don't know, right? So for the sake of your mental health, do not go on there, okay? If you want to ask questions, okay, or if you're struggling to understand something, perhaps the doctors haven't explained the MRI properly to you, you can reach out to me, okay? Reach out, comment in the comment section down below. I always respond to comments. It might take me a few days to get back to you guys, but I always respond. You can drop me an email. Email's in the link as well, okay, in my homepage there. And if you want some more practical advice, you can always book in for a free advice call. 45 minutes, 1 hour. We chat on video. You send me your MRI results beforehand. You fill in a questionnaire. And I go over some things that you can go away and try conservatively to get yourself back on that pain-free schedule, okay? So completely free. If you want to, just, there's a link down below. You can book in there. We have a chat. You get nothing to lose, everything to gain, okay? So guys, listen, there is some of my top 5 things you need to do now if you've just been diagnosed with a lumbar herniated disc. So, hope you've enjoyed this content. Don't forget, of course, to like and share. And if you've enjoyed it a lot, subscribe, and you'll see me next time. Take care for now.